Okay, great, Haynes. Let's look at the next part of Module 9, Salaries and Wages. What we're going to discuss now is just quickly, briefly, the employee benefits, meaning as an employee, what benefits do we give them additionally over and above their salaries? We're going to deduct some money from their salaries before they even receive it. You'll see what those are. And then we're going to have, like I mentioned, with benefits, we're going to give them some additional contributions. I'll break down each one of them per slide. Module 9, I'm on page 222. Okay, so first up, PAYE, pay as you earn. You've heard this when we were doing VAT or tax. So first of all, this money will be deducted from the person's salary, unfortunately, before they see it. And then we as the employer will make sure we pay that money to SARS. I've given you two tables from 2020 just to see how it's broken down in the tables. So if you're below the age of 65, which will be most of us, and you are for 2020 earning less than 83,000 Rand per year, you don't pay any tax. So these people are exempt or they're not required to pay tax. As you get older, you'll see 65, 74, you can earn more and you still won't be paying tax, a benefit for the older people. Then income tax, specifically how is it calculated? And you'll need to come back to this table to make sure you know how much the person is paying. First of all, the bottom of the scale, if you're between, obviously this will be 83 and 205, but anyway, 18% okay, of that amount that you're earning per annum for the year will be taxed. Then we go to the second one. Now you're earning more than 205,901 and less than that, so it's somewhere in between that. You will definitely pay 37,062 Rand tax, but also 26% of the income above 205. So let's say you are earning 300,000, somewhere in the middle. You'll take 300 minus 205,900, and that difference that you are getting extra, you will then work out what's 20% of that, and that will be your tax. Look at the guy at the bottom. These are a lot of the rich people. They earn 1.5 million or more per annum, and they will pay 559,464 definitely. And the difference between 1.5 and their salary, let's say it's 2 million, the difference between 2 million and 1,577,300 will be 45% taxed. So it work out what's 45%. So interesting to have that table handy. It changes from year to year. Next we go to UIF, something that's been quite current with our coronavirus. Luckily our country have a huge, massive UIF, and we could tap into this in a time of emergency. So what's happened here is people that were closed in April, they couldn't open their shops or their businesses, they could claim for their employees to be paid by this fund. But it normally is just for people that don't have a job. So how does it work for us, the employer, that have people that we're employing? 1% of their salary we are going to take off for this fund. So let's say the guy's earning 10,000 Rand a month. So 100 Rand of his salary we're going to minus, and we'll make sure it gets to the UIF. But also, by law, we have to give another 1%. Yes, so this will be over and above the salary that we'll be spending on this person. Another 100 Rand towards the UIF. So what happens here is, at the end of the month, we as the employer will have to pay the fund 200 Rand. 100 Rand came out of the employee's pocket, and another 100 Rand came out of ours. Then there's a cap for the UIF. This is very important. For 2020, if you are earning more than 14,872 per month, not per year, per month, then your maximum UIF is on that 1% of that amount. So if you are earning 50,000 Rand a month, this is the number of UIF that you will be paying. Nobody can pay more than that. So they'll deduct that from the salaries, and then we'll add additional 148 from the company's pockets, be an extra expense for us, and in total the UIF will get 297.44 cents. Okay, let's go to medical aid fund. You can choose to contribute, so your employees can opt for not being part of this. See on the right, there's some examples of some medical aid funds in South Africa that are quite well known. So how does this one work? Let's use an example. So let's say for this employee and his family, it will cost 3,000 Rand a month. And yes, it's probably more than that for some of your families, for him to be part of a medical aid. So that when we agree, then we agree as employer and employee how much of that we will pay and how much of that you're going to pay. So let's say employee, we've agreed that 2,000 Rand will be taken off his salary, and then us as an employer, we will contribute an additional 1,000 Rand so that it comes to 3,000. These are normally amounts calculated by medical aids. I mean, the total 3,000, and it varies from medical aid to medical aid. Maybe use Hippo to find out which is the cheapest medical aid. Next, we come to the old people, pension funds and provident funds. Guys, as soon as you start working, be it 18, 21 or 23, start paying pension funds. When you start paying this only when you are 30 or 40, it's probably too late. So start saving for your old age early, because then you can retire in comfort. What is this? It's similar to life insurance. So what will happen is, as a young person, every single month you will put money aside into a pension fund or provident fund. If it's a pension fund, you'll get a lump sum when you turn a certain age, so depending on your contract. For example, we've got two pensioners in our staff body. We've got Mr. Graves and Mr. Jackson. So they can earn a monthly pension fund and still work, because they're over the age, I think, of 62 is their agreement. But most of them are on 65, and I think for you guys, since you're going to live longer than us as a generation, you'll probably only get this money back when you're 70 and stop working. If you don't have a fund, you can't stop working because you've got no income. Let's see how we're going to calculate it. So say, for example, there is 500 Rand that we will deduct from the actual salary or wage, and then we'll agree that we will pay 2 Rand for every Rand that the employee contributes. So we as the employer really value provident funds or pension funds, saying we will pay another 1,000 Rand. So at the end of the day, that's a nice benefit you're getting from us as the employer. You're getting your salary, but you're also getting another 1,000 Rand for pension fund. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to pay 1,500 towards your pension fund at the end of the month. And it's normally calculated on your basic or your gross salary, as we did in those salary scales. Then we're moving on to skills development. This is something that by law, the company or the business has to pay 1% for each person towards this. And why have they put this in place? So that employers can train their staff, skill their staff, upgrade their staff, and grow. I studied more than 20 years ago to be a teacher, but luckily, regularly, we get training and we're skilled up, and we're still improving and growing as the years go by. The employer, good news, can claim a refund for this from SETA for all these training courses. So it's actually a win-win, and the government supports this. Then lastly, trade unions. This is something you covered in EMS grade 9. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but it represents the employees, and then it's actually compulsory to belong to one. So you choose one and you join them, and then there's a monthly subscription towards them. And for example, as teachers, the one that I belong to, we only have an annual subscription. We don't have to pay monthly. Okay, and to follow, the next video will be on how to actually do the journal and break down all these deductions and contributions.